Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
You know, in business, from time to time, I've heard people be called like, "Oh, I've never heard about you. You're the best kept secret." I hear that about my organization in AmSpirit Business Connections in Columbus, Ohio. We've been around forever. We're the kind of the predominant player, and I'll still get people coming up and never heard about this. This is the best kept secret, and to me, that's not a compliment, right? It's really kind of a problem. And because if nobody knows you, they're not going to hire you. They're not going to refer you. They're not going to collaborate. They're not going to introduce you. So you can't be the best kept secret. You shouldn't be the best kept secret. You don't want to be the best kept secret. And so my guest today has built her career, built her business, or is building her business, continues on helping people break out of that best kept secret trap. Susie Moon is the Chief Connection Officer with Susie Moon Consulting, and she helps small business owners reach their ideal clients through connections, networking, building relationships, finding speaking opportunities. And they call her the Mother Nudger. Careful with that, mother, because she holds her clients accountable, and she insists that the leads are nurtured. She loves to put butts in seats. She's on the program. Susie, talk to me.
Hi, Frank. Great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
So how do you make people the worst kept secret, right?
I love to build relationships with people. And when I say that, I want people talking about them in the rooms they're not in. So I want them leaving a lasting impression, introducing themselves in a way that's so unique, telling a story so people remember you, and then they can refer you easier. So I focus a lot on that, but I also focus just on meeting as many people and knowing what everybody's good at. And then matchmaking, figuring out who needs to meet who based on their vibe. So, yeah.
Well, let's take a step back and kind of get your story. We all go through high school. Most of us go through high school. Pretty much everybody goes through high school. And many go through college. And I think that high school and college experience to a large degree is very self-centered. Right. Mm-hmm. You got to get a degree. You got to take these classes. You have to do these things, and you have friends, and you're concerned about your friends. But it's not you're not building career relationships necessarily. You're taking care of yourself. But at some point in time, for you made a switch and said, you know what, I got to care about the people around me, and I just want to kind of understand how that happened.
Yeah, and that's a really good reflection. Like, I'm not sure that I've even thought about that, to be honest. I think it happens naturally, but as you become a business owner, you realize you have to support the people around you. And the more relationships and trust that you can build, the easier it is to have a business. So I think I just naturally became good at networking. I really hated it in corporate just because it wasn't my thing to talk about, or I didn't understand it. And I would have loved to have a LinkedIn profile in college. I wish I would have started back then, and built the relationships there. But I didn't know that. So I would say I've really gotten good at it in the last 5 or 6 years. It's when I've really paid close attention to the relationships that I've been building.
Yeah. As you were sharing that, I was thinking about my mom who lived in Minnesota. She had a small newspaper that was focused on recovery, addiction and recovery. And it was a newspaper. It was, this is all pre-internet. It was a newspaper, and her paper person who would sell her paper would refer her clients. And it was really kind of, I need you in business. I don't need you to fail, because if you fail, I lose a client.
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
that's just kind of a different. I didn't really think about it until she kind of shared that story, and and you've kind of brought that forth in my memory that, yeah, we need to serve the people around us because we're the product of what the five people we hang around with most, and if they're all just rummy dummies hanging out in a bar, guess what? That's who we are, right?
Exactly. And I feel like each one of us has a unique talent that's so different from others. We all approach things differently. And if we were all focusing on what we were best at and could share that with other people, everything would be better. The world would be
Yeah,
better. Everybody would be in their zone. They would be doing what they love. We'd be happier as a culture.
yeah.
Um,
Are you a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Is that something that's
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I love watching the Avengers. Just you just said, we all have talents, right? I mean, not all of us are the Hulk, right? Not all of us
Right.
are Iron Man, and
Yeah.
they have unique talents. And for those who are fans of that, those unique talents come into play and save the day. And
Right.
it's kind of the same sort of thing. Um,
Exactly. Yeah, it's a superpower. We
yeah,
talk about that in business. What's your superpower?
yeah,
And yeah, but a lot of people, I think it's hard for them to identify what that is. They stumble on it later in life, and I probably did the same thing. I waited 45 years to figure out what mine was.
yeah,
And, I wonder if we could figure that out earlier. What a cool thing that would be. Is like focus on what you really love to do and what you're best at, and then you have more meaning in your life.
yeah. Well, and
Cool.
I don't mean to rail on the college and university system, but it is really geared towards getting jobs.
Oh yeah.
They give lip
Yeah.
service to networking, but none of the professors don't really network. I mean,
Mm.
not really.
They don't have to.
No.
They probably were never taught how to do it,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that could
Get out
be,
there and do that scary thing. I have no idea. Go find Susie, and it's
ex-
probably changing a little bit.
yeah.
Now, how do you encourage people or teach people how to build those referral partnerships?
I really like to focus on the personal stuff. When I go to a meeting, I want to share a story about myself. I want people to get to know me personally before I have to give them a 30-second spiel about my business. Like,
Yeah.
they're not going to remember it. And I want them to like know a fact. One time, and it was a few years ago, I went into a networking event. I had just gone out west with my dad on a road trip, and he did this thing where it was very memorable. He didn't like to carry his dirty underwear with him. He didn't want to put them back in his luggage, so he
Okay.
tossed them. And so I was telling a lady this about how my
Oh,
dad
okay.
would
Wait a minute.
throw.
He just would throw them away, like
Yeah,
disposable.
when
Okay. Yeah. All right.
yes, like
Okay.
he would bring his, not so good ones along, and he
Okay.
would just toss them when he was, and so he was like not taking his dirty underwear back. And this
Okay.
is great for a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Is he
he's gonna
alive
love
still?
it. Yes, he
Oh, yeah.
is,
Well,
and
you're out of the will. You're out of the will
yeah,
now.
it totally. And so I was telling somebody this at a networking event, and like she laughed so hard. And
Yeah.
we didn't talk about business at all, but every time she sees me now, she asks how my dad is. And
Yeah.
it's so endearing. And I feel like I made a friend, with just a simple story. So and you don't have to talk about your dad's underwear, but
Right.
how can you say something that, really something that means a lot to you, or an experience, and share a story, and it just, people remember you. And I think that's really important when you network right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree. We need to be relatable to one another. And I remember early on meeting an insurance agent and just having lunch with him, and you could swing a dead cat and hit an insurance agent, right? They're everywhere. But to hear his story about he was an architect in a kind of a high-end sort of environment and just decided he wanted to go be an insurance agent. So he, could be his own guy, be his own boss. And to me that was really endearing. It's like, yeah, I have that same vibe. I came from accounting or tax, same sort of thing. But at that point, it's like I really need to help this person
Yeah.
for, why I couldn't really explain it, but it just switched something in me. It's like, okay, that is relatable.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I love that.
And don't we want to help one another out? I also think it's the abundance mindset that you need to have when you go into networking. It's so
Right.
important. If you go in thinking everybody's your competition, it just closes off the conversation. You get more restrictive, or you think that you're walking into something and you're immediately going to sell to people.
Yeah.
That's not how networking is. You're building relationships. You want to talk to people and build trust and find people that are serving the clients or people you want to help. And that's how you really form good partnerships. Who's also serving that group? And how can you work together? Could you put on a lunch and learn? Could you work together, refer people back and forth? And I don't think they're teaching that anywhere.
No, they're not. They absolutely do talk about the close, right? Here's
Yeah.
how you close,
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's very mechanical, and this it's very productive from a revenue standpoint. Talking about somebody's father, whatever it is, or parents, or whatever, um, isn't productive. I
Right.
guess my question for you is, how do you deal with the pushback? I assume you get the pushback from the person who has hired you and says, okay, yeah, 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 you know what? Relatable, relatable. How do I get to this productive moment?
Sure.
I don't have
Sure.
time. I don't have time for all of this.
Well, that's where we help them along. We want to be their best advocate. We want to be their wing woman, the person who will talk about them when they're not around so they can focus on what they're doing best. So having those key power partners is very important. So you can focus on what you're doing. The people that we work with a lot of times want to speak more, be in front of a bigger group of prospective people that they want to work with, and they want to be in front of the people that potentially could hire them later. So it's finding those right rooms of to be in where the people have your vibe, the right attendees are there, and there's a chance to build relationships with them in some fashion.
You
So,
you use the term power partners.
yeah.
For those who are listening and don't exactly know what that is, can you share what that is? Maybe give a couple examples.
Yeah, I love the term power partner because I think it's a little deeper than a referral partner. For instance, so we help speakers, and I want to be power partners with the people that are also serving speakers. So
Mm,
I'm very close to somebody that builds websites only for speakers. Other speaking coaches that can help with the presentation, can help with even a wardrobe stylist is a great power partner because they're helping the speakers at a different stage in the journey. So there's so many people that help speakers that I can align with, and we can, all group together and share even one client. I've heard of people doing that and getting like a power pod where you all serve the same type of people. And it's almost like you're forming, maybe it's like the Marvel
yeah,
example,
yeah,
forming like the super friends, and you're all helping the same client, but in different ways. So
yeah.
it's really cool. It's really powerful. And it doesn't have to be a referral from a previous client that you're getting people sent to you from, if that makes sense.
No, it certainly does to me.
Yeah.
I will tell people, find the people who are running in the same circles you are,
Yeah.
selling something totally different.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
yeah. But power
And
partner
you
short circuits that. It, a
Oh,
great
oh, for
term.
sure. And accountants and attorneys, they typically work with people who are starting a business.
Yes.
They need the contracts, they need the financial, bookkeepers. They're great referral partners or power partners. It's just getting them to connect to build those relationships. And how do you give back to one another? Do you check in with one another every 3 months? Hey, how's business going? What can we do for you? Who are you looking for? Did you pivot at all? Do you have a new package that we should know about? And just staying in touch. And those are the real relationships that need to be built. And it's not always about the leads. It's
Yeah.
about, communicating to your best fans on who they should send your way. So
Well,
it's,
and it's key having, back to this word, relationships with those people. Because I might talk to an accountant and say, you really need to be connected with attorneys. Yeah, tell all the attorneys about me. Just tell them to send people my way. It's like, they don't know you. They're not going
no,
to do it.
you're right. You're right. So, and that's where, just talking to one another, networking. When I go to a networking group, those are the people that I want to look for. I want to look for the people that are also that I could have potential power partner relationships with. And I don't know that most people go into it that way. And I want to have a little fun too,
Sure.
because, business should be fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, how do you become unforgettable?
Oh, that's a great question. I think being able to communicate what you're best at and who you want to work with and leaving an impression. Maybe they're thinking about my dad in his underwear. Well,
Yeah.
hard to be unforgettable.
Yeah.
I, I have, because I'm a comedy writer on the side, I tell people about that, and it's hard to forget what I tell them.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you're working on a book right now, or you were working when we first met. The
yeah,
you want to talk about it, you can, or go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, it's and I don't know if it's going to be a book or an online
Okay,
animation.
sure.
But it's writing a script about the body parts below the belt that
Okay,
are characters and they talk to one another. So
okay.
it's
Well,
the day in the life of a penis is what I
yeah.
call it. So
Well,
yeah,
and that's you share that's for me that's unforgettable, right? Because you shared that with me in our first conversation, and in that moment, I'm like, okay, she can handle a joke, right? We can have
oh
a
yeah,
conversation. Not that you're not that I would never offend you. That's always a possibility, right? But I don't have to walk on eggshells around you.
right, right,
And that's
exactly.
not always the case, but that's
Yeah. And it's
memorable.
a great, yes, and it's a great way for me to weed out the people that are going to be offended. If I can talk about that openly, they're either going to laugh or they're going to be like, "Oh, okay,"
Yeah,
So it helps me identify who my people are. So if you can share something about yourself that sets you apart, it's always helpful in because you don't want to talk to everybody. It's
yeah,
hard. You can't. So narrow down who has your vibe, who you can joke around with, whatever it is. Have those things that a tight alliance.
yeah. Well, again, you shared that with me, and it made me feel, trying to find the word. It gave me a level of comfort. I mean,
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
trust you because it's
Yeah.
like, all right, I know there are people out there that I could refer you to, and because some people I'm like, all right, I'm never referring that person to anybody because, right, they are just
Yeah.
gonna,
Yeah.
it's not gonna go, it's not gonna be good. And
Right.
not that I would just send, some crazy person at you, but I'm not as worried about it, right? And
Right.
I'm not
Right.
worried about what's coming out of my mouth.
Yes.
And again, not that there there's still a line there, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not so worried that, oh my gosh, I screwed up a pronoun or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Um, you're
Yeah.
you're forgiving, right? It's like, all right,
Yes.
you know,
Exactly. Yeah, it's so important to have the same vibe, same values as somebody you're talking about, and finding the right networking group that you can be yourself. I think it's important to be vulnerable.
yeah,
Share something that you're struggling with, and that will open up a lot of doors because people genuinely want to help
yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, well, they
Um,
do. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah,
I run into people all the time who kind of have this brave face, shoulders back, chin up. I'm killing it, seven figures this month. It's like, okay, how many decimals are we going to here? Right. And it's just like, that's not endearing to me. What's endearing to me is the person who, yeah, I'm really having a tough time. Cool. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and,
Yeah.
I appreciate that because I've
Yeah.
been there.
Yeah. And then who can I introduce you to? And then
Yeah.
I'll ask, who are your power partners? Who can we
Yeah.
align you with? And that's when my brain just goes out of control. Like I just want to help in that way or brainstorm about marketing. Where can you be visible? Where can you show up that you might not even be thinking of?
Yeah.
And yeah,
So
that's fun.
let's shift gears here.
Okay.
I want to talk about Susie Moon Consulting.
Okay.
Clients you're looking for, how you help your clients. This is kind of your little commercial, but I don't want you to have a polished commercial, but somebody's listening and they, hey, I need to work with her, or I know somebody needs to work with her. And, I don't want you to be the best kept secret, right? Here's your opportunity to be the worst kept secret.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. So what we're doing is we are working with people who they know they're good speakers. They know who their audience is. They just need more exposure and they want to get more clients to build their business. They're not the people that are making, keynote, thousands and thousands of dollars on a keynote stage and going from stage to stage. That's not really what we're looking for. We want people who want to build relationships and grow authentically. And we're taking the strategy of what to do before, during, and after each visibility opportunity. So yes, they get a gig where they're going to be on stage in front of 100 people. How do we meet all of those people beforehand? How do we maximize what you're doing on stage? And how do we follow up with them so that you can get either more speaking opportunities or more clients? So how do we build your sales through that exposure? And where do we need to put you in a networking event beforehand, or sprinkle in other podcast opportunities and figure out a way to just boost your business? We want to be your biggest fans. We want to dig into your business and figure out how to share your magic with other people. So that's what we're all about. And I'm such a connector that I love to do that part of it. But we want to help you get paid stages too, of course.
Right.
I just think we're all like one person away from something amazing, and you never know who you're going to meet that leads to something else.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Yeah, I totally love that. Best way to get a hold of you? You provided me your link tree. Is that
yeah. You can just go to my website, susiemoon.net, and I'm on almost all the socials.
Yeah.
If you just search for Susie Moon, you'll either find a slipper that used to be sold at Target, which is not anything to do with me, or you'll see me on social. So
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you being on. I appreciate that we are not a secret to one another. Was it Jason Zagadlo that connected us? I'm trying to think who connected us.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I know I do a lot of these, right? It's and whoever, I appreciate it. But yeah, thank you for taking the time.
You bet. Thank you, Frank.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AMSPIRIT.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.